Here's my 5 people. We are sitting in a restaurant, not the best lighting.
In Ohio.
Get going here. Good evening. If someone told you that you were in the death zone for a super volcano, what would you do? This is how the topic of Yellowstone, a dangerous beauty, came to be. Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons are my favorite places. There is such wildness to the area. There in the open of Wyoming beauty, you feel as if you are transported back into time with the grizzly bears, the wolves, the elks, the moose, and many other animals. This past year, my husband has been traveling to Australia for work. When one of his colleagues there found out we live in Salt Lake City, Utah, he insisted that we read an article about Yellowstone supervolcano. He was very concerned for us. Now we know that there is seismic activity in our area, and we know that Yellowstone is basically a volcano. But the perspective of an Australian magazine made it seem so much more disconcerting. In the article from the January 2017 issue of World of Knowledge Australia, Salt Lake City was shown to be in the death zone if this supervolcano erupted, which could be any day now. This is a map from a WorldNet Daily article entitled Prediction: 2/3 of the U.S. could be devastated by Steve Elwert. You can see by this black dot that Salt Lake City is right on the edge of the kill zone. Now, I must admit, this excited me. So, dear friends, today I am going to talk about this beast of a volcano and whether we should worry about it erupting anytime soon. I will cover the history of previous Yellowstone eruptions, the local and global implications for when it erupts again, and if there is any immediate danger. Let's start first with the history of this supervolcano. From what scientists and geologists gather, Yellowstone has had 3 massive eruptions in the past. These past eruptions give us clues to understanding what would happen if another massive eruption happens. In the past, when the Yellowstone supervolcano erupted, so much material spewed out of it that the ground was brought downward, filling in some of the space where the magma chamber had been. This creates what is called a caldera. It leaves a massive depression on the surface of the earth. According to the Live Science article titled "What Would Happen If Yellowstone's Supervolcano Erupted," issued in May of 2016, most of Yellowstone National Park sits inside 3 overlapping calderas. The largest caldera could hold the city of Los Angeles. Regarding these past eruptions, the most recent was the Lava Creek eruption occurring 640,000 years ago. According to geologists from the film Earth's Doomsdays, Yellowstone supervolcano erupts. This eruption had a magmatic cauldron 3 times the size of New York City, with 1 million tons of molten rock heated to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, pressing its way to the surface. After hundreds of earthquakes and geysers erupting, hot water spewing from the cracks in the earth, and hydrothermal explosions that, according to Jacob Lowenstern, a research geologist for the United States Geological Survey, put holes in the ground as big as a mile across. The last eruption began. Geologists from this film believe that the last eruption had the power of a hydrogen bomb. This eruption started as a single eruption and soon turned into a series of eruptions, one after another after another. Scientists estimate that 2.5 trillion tons of volcanic ash were carried by the winds, burying 2,000 square miles of North America and destroying much of the plant life. The sun was darkened and the temperatures dropped. Now you may be asking yourself, how can they speculate and know what happened millions of years ago? And how do they know that when and what it will happen again? Apart from geological evidence, which there's plenty, geologists look at volcano eruptions that have been recorded. The largest of these on record is the eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia. On April 10, 1815, this 14,000-foot volcano erupted, blowing its top off. It now stands at 9,354 feet. The ash cloud from this eruption was the size of the lower 48 states. In an excerpt from the book The Year Without Summer by William and Nicholas Klingemann, there was ash 40 inches thick on the ground within 20 miles of the eruption and 8 to 10 inches thick within 100 miles. According to Encyclopedia Britannica, over a year later, parts of the world as far away as Western Europe and the Eastern North America experienced sporadic heavy snowfall and killer frost in June, July, and August, killing crops and ushering in famine. When a volcano erupts, it spews vast quantities of gases, such as sulfur dioxide. According to the Live Science article, this forms a sulfur aerosol that absorbs sunlight and reflects it back into space. Therefore, temperatures drop. This is why the Mount Tambora eruption changed the climate of places hundreds of miles away, and why when the Yellowstone supervolcano finally erupts, it will be destructive for the United States and have a devastating impact globally. The Encyclopedia Britannica also stated that 10,000 people were killed from the initial eruption of Mount Tambora, and 80,000 deaths were caused by its environmental impact, bringing famine and disease in the following years. The Yellowstone supervolcano is 50 to 100 times larger than Mount Tambora. Imagine the impact. However, in my research, I found that the claims from the Australian magazine were exaggerated. Scientists say that there is only a 1 in 700,000 chance that the Yellowstone supervolcano will erupt anytime soon. Also, this volcano is one of the most monitored volcanoes around the world, being studied by some of the world's top geologists. Analysis team scientist James Farrell from the University of Utah says that with all the instruments in place monitoring the volcano, we will have anywhere from weeks to months of warning. What should our response be? We have talked about the history of this beast of a volcano, the future implications when it erupts, and if there is any immediate danger. There is no imminent threat of this beast spewing its fury anytime soon. Should my family and I pack up and move out? Honestly, I would rather be in, as my husband says, the sudden death zone than the slow death zone. We won't be moving anytime soon, and I will still enjoy my 2 favorite places as often as I can. Thank you.